I've shown many flashlights on my channel already, but this one is interesting because it's as powerful as all the previous flashlights combined. At maximum brightness, it can output over 12,000 lumens, so it's a really powerful flashlight, but it's not that huge. You can fit it in your pocket. Now that sounds really interesting. So let's check the information on the box, unbox it, and test it. This is the Wuben X1 Pro. Here we have the available brightness levels. In turbo mode, we can get 12,300 lumens for 1 minute, then 5,000 lumens for an additional minute, and then 3,000 lumens for 1.7 hours. In high mode, we have 3,000 lumens for 1.8 hours. In medium mode, 1,000 lumens for 5.5 hours. In low mode, 400 lumens for 14 hours. In eco mode, 20 lumens for 220 hours. Additionally, we have a strobe mode with 3000 lumens and an SOS mode with 400 lumens. The beam has a reach of 410 meters, 42,000 candelas, an IP65 rating, so it should survive rain, and it has drop resistance of up to 1 meter. Without the battery, the weight is 240 grams, and with 2 batteries it weighs 383 grams. So not heavy, but also not very light. Here we have the dimensions, and here we have the package contents. But let's just open it and see the contents. Here we have the user manual in a few languages. This is the flashlight. As you can see, it's not big, but it's not very small either. You can fit it in your pocket. Here we have the accessories. Here we have screws and this lanyard, so you don't drop the flashlight. And it is 2-in-1. It has a USB-C cable that is used as a lanyard. So it's a clever idea that we can have this USB-C cable mounted on the flashlight, because we can also use this flashlight as a power bank. So a very clever feature with this USB-C cable. And right here we have a belt holder. You can mount it on your belt and you can always have your flashlight with you. Here we have a warning to remove the battery insulation, so let's do that. Here we have a lock for the battery compartment, so we can unlock it and open it up, and let's remove it. And here we have 2 batteries. They aren't any special batteries. They are standard 21700 batteries. So if they wear out after a few years, you can just buy new ones anywhere. And we have 2 batteries because this flashlight is really powerful, so it requires 2 batteries. And we have plus and minus signs indicating how to put them back, and let's lock it. Now the flashlight is ready for use. Here we have the USB-C port under the cover. Here is the button. Here is a switch between the beams. It has a built-in cooling fan, but it may still get hot. Here we have information about locking the flashlight with 4 quick clicks. And on the front we can see the spotlight and the floodlights. And for maximum brightness we can use both of them. And let's look at the manual to see how to use this flashlight. Here we have all the components listed and the package contents. Installation, so I've already done that. The fan is removable, as you can see. And here we have the operation modes. We can switch left to the spotlight, right to the floodlight, and to the middle for both. And here we have how to turn on the different modes. When the flashlight is turned off, a single press turns it on and off. When we hold it, it goes into eco mode, and pressing it again turns it off. And by pressing it 4 times, we can lock and unlock the flashlight. When we press it twice, it goes into turbo mode, and a single press turns it off. 3 presses take us to strobe mode or SOS mode. And pressing it 5 times likely turns on the fans for 5 minutes, after which it turns them off. And when the flashlight is on, we can switch between eco, low, medium and high modes by holding the button. A double press switches it to turbo mode. And when it gets hot, the fan turns on, and when it cools down, the fan turns off. So quite simple controls. It supports 30-watt power delivery charging and can be charged in about 2 hours up to 20 volts, 1.5 amps. And we can check the battery level. Between 90 and 100% the blue light is on. Between 90 and 40% the blue light flashes. Between 40 and 15% the red light is on. And below 15% the red light flashes. And here we have the parameters in more detail. Because on the box we only had the spotlight to floodlight connection, but we can also see the details for just the spotlight and just the floodlight. So the spotlight can have a maximum brightness of 3650 lumens and the floodlight 8650 lumens. And you can see other parameters right here. And we have the warnings and operating instructions as well as maintenance. So let's try all those features. Let's see if it is locked. It is not locked. But if I press it 4 times, now it is locked. I cannot turn it on. And I can unlock it by pressing the button 4 times. It is unlocked. So let's try all those features. First thing, pressing the button once turns the flashlight on and off. And by sliding the switch on top, I can switch between the lights. Holding the button enters eco mode. Pressing the button twice enters turbo mode. So at full brightness, pressing it 3 times goes to strobe mode and SOS mode, so be prepared for flashing lights. So both modes, strobe and SOS, are working. And let's press it 5 times. It turns on the fan and I turn it off by pressing the button 5 times again. Now when the flashlight is turned on, by holding the button I can switch between the modes. By pressing the button twice I can go to turbo mode, and when it gets hot the fan will automatically turn on. And here next to the USB-C port we can see input max 30 watts but also output 5 volts, 3 amps. So let's try connecting it to my smartphone. Let's use the provided cable, and the smartphone is charging. So we can use it as a power bank. And right here we can mount this cable so we always have easy access to this USB-C cable. Let's try the turbo mode in a room. I will turn off all the lights and I want to see how bright we can get the room on this turbo mode. This is the eco mode. This is the low mode. This is the medium mode. This is the high mode. And this is the turbo mode. As you can see by the image quality, it is quite bright and the fan turns on in the flashlight to cool it down. And I can also switch between the spotlight. It's now a narrow beam. This is a look at all the modes, and right now we are using only the floodlight setting. It provides that much wider beam for better coverage. But we will see full brightness when both lights are turned on at the same time. Now it is really bright in turbo mode, and let's turn on the fan to cool it down. We can cool it down when it is turned off, and let's try it outside to see how bright it looks. Let's try this flashlight at night. This is the eco mode. This is the low mode for basic tasks, the medium mode for standard use, the high mode for demanding work, and finally the turbo mode for maximum power. And now let's go ahead and switch through the different settings, starting with the spotlight, moving on to the mixed light, then the floodlight, and finally checking out the eco mode so we can get a really clear comparison of how each one performs. Very interesting flashlight, really powerful. I really like this built-in USB-C cable. It is a very clever idea. 2 batteries, easily replaceable. So a really nice and interesting flashlight. You can check more details in the description. And that's all for today. Like, subscribe, and be nice.